Okay. Hello and welcome back everyone to this week's live stream. I'm Gordon Morse, your natural English coach, and I'm here once again to answer your questions. So, just as a note, this week is also going to be a pre-recorded video because unfortunately I have some things to be doing, but starting from next week we should have live streams again. So, about our first question. Our first question is, when I was shopping for a new computer, the salesman said it was top of the line. Does this mean the computer is good quality? So, top of the line means that something is the best quality for goods especially. And when we talk about line in top of the line, we're talking about a product line. So for example, if you have a company that produces computers, let's say laptop computers, they have a bunch of product lines, meaning that they might have a product line for business or a product line for home computers or something like that. And each of those product lines has less expensive computers and more expensive computers. And if something is top of the line, it means that it is the best quality and also probably most expensive version of the thing in that product line. So talking about top of the line stuff is especially used for electronics and tools and vehicles and equipment. So basically anything that is like consumer goods. So for example, you can talk about a car being the top of the line, or like some sort of tool that you use is top of the line, or also software can be top of the line. Basically anything that is a product and has more than one version that is made by a company is a product line. So, for example, you could say, this new AC unit is top of the line. It was very expensive. So it was very expensive. As some of you probably know, AC unit is basically similar to aircon in Japanese. AC stands for air conditioning. It's an acronym, basically. All right, here's our second question. I have a hard time saying the V sound in English. How do I make it sound more natural? I think I answered a question like about V a few weeks ago as well. But it's always worth talking about again because it's one of those words that really doesn't come across, or the sounds that really doesn't come across well unless you practice it. So words with the V in them are usually ba, be, bo, bu in Romaji. Usually you start with a B sound instead of a V sound. So therefore, violin becomes violin, or love becomes dabu. So you understand both those words, but you can see how they sound very different, especially to a native English speaker. Violin and violin are pretty different, and also love and dabu are almost completely different to a native English speaker. They probably won't get the connection at all. So the important difference to know about B and V is that B is a stop sound, what we call a stop sound, which is basically any sound that you make by stopping the air that comes up your mouth and through your throat and through your nose. So it stops the air, usually with your lips or your teeth or something. And then the sound is made when you release the air. So with B, it's with your lips. Ba, ba. You can't make the sound until you open your mouth, and the sound doesn't happen unless you have air behind your lips. Ba, ba. So ba, be, bo, right? V is a little bit different. V is going to use your teeth against your lips. Your teeth are going to touch your lips. So it's important to put your top teeth on the bottom lip and use your vocal cords. So those are the things that you can feel right here when you say certain sounds. And V is one of those sounds where you can feel it coming out. So v, 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 v. When you make that sound, you should feel the vibration, or you should feel some sort of like shaking right here. Those are your vocal cords. So, like I said, v. See how you can still see? You can still see my top teeth, and they are pressed against my bottom lip. V, v. And when you make the V sound, you'll feel tingling. You'll feel it kind of like vibrating or tingling right on your lower lip. V, v. And it's important to note that the air is not stopped when I'm making the V sound. It flows through a small gap. With B, the air is stopped. With V, the air is not. So it's tricky to make the V sound correctly. Again, start slow and just keep practicing. So here are 4 common words that are really useful to practice with the V sound. So we have love, love, or vacation, vacation. You might notice that also there are different points where I'm pressing my teeth to my lips, and that's usually based on whatever sound is coming next in the word. So vacation, vacation. You can see my teeth are a little bit back more than love, and with love, my teeth are a little bit more front. It doesn't make a huge difference. As long as you can pronounce a clear V sound, that's the most important part for you. So we have vacation, vacation. And I believe in Japanese we use the word bakansu, bakansu, or something like that. Then we have, of course, violin, violin. And we have very, very. That's a word we use a lot because we use it to emphasize, to express feelings of more of something, right? I'm very hungry, I'm very tired, it's very good. We use it all the time, so it's very useful to get that sound right. Question 3. My friend said that I shouldn't hold a grudge against someone who made me mad. What does this mean? Our phrase is hold a grudge. So, a grudge is a bad feeling or an opinion of someone. And people hold grudges against other people who have hurt them in some way or cheated them or done something wrong. It's kind of like, I'm trying to think of a good example because it's a little bit complex because it's understandable. You can understand why people would be mad at somebody or not like somebody because they did something bad to you. However, usually grudges last for a long time. So sometimes people think that if you hold a grudge for a month or a year, it's a little bit too long, especially maybe if the other person has apologized or sort of like done something to make the situation better, right? To kind of like basically be forgiven. Of course, it doesn't mean that the person has to forgive them, but a grudge is usually a very bad feelings against someone that last for a very, very long time. But because some people think that grudges last too long, usually when we talk about holding grudges, it's considered a negative action. It's like not necessarily a good thing. So like if someone is mad at someone for a very long time over something that isn't actually that serious, and they're holding a grudge, and it's not really good for the person holding the grudge, and it's not really good for the person who did something but it wasn't that bad. So here are a couple of example sentences where we can use this. She's been holding a grudge for years because he dumped her in high school. So the phrase dumped someone basically means that they stopped dating. So they were dating, they stopped dating, and usually when you dump someone, it's like one person says to the other person, "Okay, I'm done. You're gone," and it's pretty rough. It's not like both people agree. It's that one person decides it's finished. So she's been holding a grudge for years because he dumped her in high school. The next one is, if you hold a grudge against everyone who wrongs you, you'll just be miserable. You probably know that miserable means just very sad or very upset, have a lot of bad feelings. If someone wrongs you, of course you probably understand wrong as in something that is incorrect or not right. But to wrong someone as a verb basically just means to do something bad to them. Number 4. I don't think I'm saying the words for family members correctly, like father or sister. How do I make a more natural R sound? So, as you know, there are the same 4 sounds that occur with all the family words, or at least these 4 family words. Mother, father, sister, brother. And I'm making the sound more, I'm kind of like emphasizing the sound right now. That's not really how I would say it if I was just speaking casually. But I really want you to hear the low R sound that happens. So usually when you're putting English words into Romaji, the final R sound of a word is ah. So maza, faza, sister, and brother. So the ah sound, which is pretty different than the actual R sound, that natural English R sound that you want. So we've used this chart a couple times, and I'm not sure how useful it'll be here because it's mostly used for vowel sounds. But I just want to show you that the ah sound, ah, is a little bit lower, or at least on this chart, a little bit lower, but more back in the throat. Ah, ah. When you make that sound, ah, you can kind of feel like it's kind of back here, right? Where you see the yellow circle on the mouth diagram. The sound that we are after, the sound that comes just before the R sound, is and that's the blue circle right there, So what I want you to notice when you make this sound, or when you try to make this sound, is that on both sides of your mouth, they go inwards. It's kind of like it shrinks a little bit. Everything gets tense. It kind of makes your mouth kind of like this, and then it kind of like contracts a little bit and makes it almost like a V shape. You can see even my lips go a little bit more together when I'm trying to make that sound. So yeah, when you make the R sound, your throat closes and squeezes just a little bit. So everything kind of just squinches down. Everything just kind of squinches down and like contracts in a little bit. You can feel a lot of your muscles working when you're trying to make that natural R sound. Also, something that helps is if you put your tongue, or you actually press your tongue on the floor of your mouth. So especially the front part of your tongue should kind of be right up against your teeth. So if this hand is my teeth, this is my tongue. When I say it kind of presses down and like up against it, like kind of like a wave hitting like a breaker or something like that. So yeah, when you do this, if you're doing it correctly and making the correct sound, you should feel like the two sides of your jaw right here are clenching inward. It should feel tight. Not too tight. It's not a strong feeling, but you should be able to notice it. So let's try these words. We have father, sister, mother, and brother. And I would recommend trying to make the sounds more strong than you usually would, because you want to get used to the feeling of those natural sounds. Once you're used to the feeling and can do them reliably, then you can worry about speed, right? If I'm just talking casually, I'll say mother, father, sister, brother, mother, father, sister, brother, right? Pretty easy. But if I really want to practice the sound, I will say father, mother, sister, brother, which sounds a little bit weird when you're just speaking naturally, but just for practice. Question 5. I want to be able to watch movies and TV shows in English without subtitles. How do I get better at it? So it's important when you're trying to do this kind of language learning, it's important to understand that practicing with casual dialogue is really difficult because people speak at their natural pace, meaning that it's hard to catch every word. And also they're using a lot of idioms and their speech patterns can be kind of strange. And also people can just make errors when they're speaking, which will confuse you if you're not used to that. However, if you do really want to practice getting better at English by watching TV shows or movies, here is a technique that I recommend to you. First, you should start by practicing by using your subtitles. So this is something that I do actually when I'm practicing Japanese. So pick basically one scene or one piece of dialogue. Then you're going to listen to just one sentence or just one phrase, 5 seconds, whatever just one piece of that dialogue is. Listen to it, but do not read the subtitles. Just try to listen to the natural sound and try to see how much you understand. Once you do that, listen to it, the same piece of dialogue, listen to the same thing one more time, but also read the subtitles. That way you can match the meaning that you don't know to what you're reading on the subtitles and fill things in your brain, so you'll have a better understanding of what they're saying. And then finally, watch it one more time, and again, don't read the subtitles, just try and hear what you've put together the first 2 times and try to hear it in its natural form. It's not the best way to actually watch a movie or a TV show, but it's really useful if you just keep doing that over and over. It gets you used to natural speaking. So, like I said, start with the words and phrases that you understand and build from there. It's not very useful to try and understand every single word in a sentence that you hear. Partially because, if you're just talking to someone, people will say things all the time that they don't really mean to say or just don't have any meaning behind them. So just worry about the main parts of the sentence. What are the 2 or 3 important words or phrases that the sentence is built around? Also, another thing that's important is listening for feeling. Of course, every sentence or everything that we say has meaning. However, a different channel, basically, of language is also feeling. So, in terms of saying something like I should have had an example prepared for this, but if you say, I was very tired today versus I was tired today. I was tired today, I was very tired today. The only difference is the word very. And very doesn't have an objective meaning. There's no it doesn't mean 30% or 60% or whatever. There's no fixed amount of what very means. After all, you can't really know exactly how tired you are. Very is added for emphasis to give the sentence a stronger feeling. And there's tons of words like that. A lot of the ly words like absolutely, certainly, totally, ideally, hopefully, unfortunately. All of those words add feeling and nuance to a sentence, as well as a little bit of meaning. But they're more feeling than meaning. Anyway, it's just important to note that some words are added for feeling and not just for meaning. All right, and as usual, we're going to end with a question for you. What goods do you think you should buy the top of the line of? So, do you think that when you're buying a computer or a phone or a car or batteries or software, what is something that when you buy it, you think you need to buy the top of the line, and why? So, like always, I recommend that you record your answer. That way, later on, you can listen to your answer and then practice it over and over again and hear your errors that you make. All right. Thanks for watching this week's live stream, or not live stream, this is a pre-recorded, but starting next week, we'll have live streams at the normal time again. Every Friday at 8 a.m. JST, 1600 or 4 p.m. PST, and 7 p.m. EST. Please like and subscribe to the channel if it was useful for you, if you learned something, because the more people watch these things, the more content that I can make for you. And of course, if you ever have a question or want me to correct your English, please feel free to comment during the live stream and I can answer you immediately. Or if you comment on any of my past videos, I can correct your English there. All right, have a good week and I'll see you next time.